Kenya already made the decision 5 years ago that any African who wants to visit Kenya can acquire a visa at the airport in Nairobi.
The first thing we need to do, which the AU must firmly resolve, is to do away with the visa for Africans. There should not be a visa for Africans. The same way the Europeans have one visa, they travel everywhere, they are one thing.
Greetings, family, and welcome to Africa, our business. There is good news on the continent. Movement could just get easier for all our brothers and sisters who are out there in the diaspora. Whether you're in Canada, whether you're in Japan, or whether you're in London, Zurich, wherever you are, African leaders are speaking the language we need to hear. Please stick around and listen a bit more. This is Africa, our business. Do remember to subscribe.
We are currently having a national conversation whether any African needs a visa at all. Forget one at the airport. And I think by the end of this year, we will have made a decision, because we share history, we share culture, we share destiny, and it is in our place to begin to imagine a continent of brothers and sisters that does not have the limitations of barriers and boundaries and bureaucracy that impedes movement of people or goods or services.
This particular president has been fighting for unification of East Africa in general. Africa in general, and particularly East Africa. He's been fighting for single currency. He's been fighting for de-dollarization, using the currency of the country and not the U.S. dollar as the major trading source. So he's a champion right now going on the continent, period, but definitely in East Africa. And this particular stance that he has taken at this conference is so exciting and amazing, because I have not heard any president so far take this position.
I mean, it's my guy. I'm gonna tell you, I love this brother. I think before we have him among other leaders on the continent, but it seems like he's taking the lead, and setting the tone and the pace, right? That others are gonna have to catch up. This is just your brother speaking. This is just from my vantage point, but he's saying all the right things. But here's the part, though. Not that he's just saying all the right things. He's backing it.
Yep.
He's putting practical application behind the words, right? So, as black people, sure, we come from America, or some in the diaspora come from the UK, or we're all over, right? We're coming back, as my wife said, we're coming back home in our mind and in our heart. So I'm like, yeah, make it easy for us, right? Because it was hard when we left.
Or at least make it welcoming.
This is an exciting time to be alive, man. 2023. African leaders are saying the right things about movement across the African borders. The wind of change is definitely here. Julius Malema of South Africa, president of EFF, may not be president of South Africa yet, but I can tell you, this brother can push an agenda. If his words if they can breathe life into what Julius Malema is saying, I can assure you that brothers and sisters from across the world, wherever you are, African is all you have to be. Movement across the border is going to be a matter of present yourself and get into the country.
Africa free trade is a movement in the right direction. But the first thing we need to do, which the AU must family resolve is to do away with the visa for Africans. There should not be a visa for Africans. The same way the Europeans have one visa, they travel everywhere, they are one thing. What they have, they don't want us to have it. There shouldn't be a visa in Africa. Free movement of people should be allowed. And there is no one who's going to leave Nigeria to come and settle here. It's not true, that thing. It's a myth.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we reflect on this matter, the visa regime was introduced to us by our friends, largely from the West. Today, they have largely moved away from visa restrictions in their jurisdictions. For example, the EU of 27 countries have a single visa for 27 countries and 500 million people. And yet, we have been left stuck with visas, which they introduced and abandoned, and we are now victims and hostages of visas from one country to another. I think we need to do the right thing, because if those who introduced the visa find no meaning for it anymore, why should we?
I mean, I come from a province called Limpopo. We don't need visa to go to Johannesburg. But people are still there in Limpopo. They've not left Limpopo to Johannesburg. So doing away with visa doesn't mean automatically people are going to leave their homes to where the economy is prospering. It's not true. Johannesburg, Gauteng is doing much better than Limpopo. But the people are not leaving Limpopo to Gauteng. So why would people leave Lagos to here? For what? It's their home. They will come here, look for what they are looking for, and take it back where they come from. We'll go to Lagos to do the same and come back home. We have a problem here of unemployment of South Africans who are told by the previous apartheid mentality and colonialism, brainwashed, that South Africa is superior, is better. They've got the best qualifications. They never go out of the country to go and look for jobs in other countries. Why? Why? Why are they not going all out of Africa? We have nurses, we've got, now we're told doctors, we now have teachers, we have this. Africa is in need of that skill.
I like what Malema is saying, most definitely. And as Africans on the continent, as African states, really, we must hit the reset button. Our brothers and sisters who are out there need to have access to motherland without trouble, without all this visa business, honestly. It's long overdue, and I think the direction that core African leaders are taking today will push us to the point where the visa problem will soon be a thing of the past. If you're here for the first time, man, subscribe, hit that like button, and join us on this crusade to make things possible, to make access to Africa possible to our brothers and sisters who are out there in the diaspora. This is definitely Africa, our business. So the visa issue, whatever problems we have, we've got to own them. We've got to make things work.